What is the crack, everyone? It's Nathan here, aka the Rambling Kern, and head instructor of Kern School of Combat. So for those who are interested, our weekly classes are back up and running. We're running them in South Dublin, so you will find the details for that in the description, so please get in touch if you're interested in Irish martial arts lessons. For those who can't make it or live abroad, you will find my Patreon if you're interested in online lessons or even just joining a Discord where you're able to chat with myself and other members. I post weekly martial arts content on there, and I'm more than happy to help anyone out who needs anything. Or if you just want to give me the price of a cup of coffee, you can do that too. Anyway, on to today's video. So you will hear lots of fireworks going off during this video. It is Halloween. That is something we have to live with, so apologies. But this is a very important video because this is the first topic I teach anyone when we approach stick fighting. This is information that has been distilled down from other very famous stick fighters and very influential people in the field, and I have gone to my own lengths to distill this into Irish stick fighting, to explain what it is we do and why we do the things that we do and how it is different to other arts. So the first and most important thing that you will learn is that this is a stick and this is a stick. Ultimately, these are sticks. However, as you can tell by the shape, they have different characteristics. But ultimately, they are sticks. Now, both of these sticks have two very important things. They are not light, but they are not overly heavy to where they're uncontrollable. They are made to cause an impact. These are tools. These are not wands, these are not lightsabers, these are not swords. These are sticks, and we need to be able to swing these with power and swing them quickly, and that is one of the most important things you will learn. However, a stick is a stick. It has characteristics that we need to be able to understand. And I got to bring up clips as I talk of various different situations where you will see these things come to light. So first and foremost, the one thing that people who first approach stick fighting really struggle with is kind of something that's twofold. One, if they come from any sort of a fencing background or they're not really used to swinging sticks, they treat this like a sword. They hold a hand out, they present a point forward at their opponent, but I can't really swing a stick from here. There's no power from this. If I was to swing this just out of frame, you'll see there's a small distance that I can swing this. I need to be in a position where I can actually swing this. One of the other things is that my hand is very vulnerable. I need to be making sure that this stays out of the way. But also, something that people really struggle with is that in a stick fight, my complementary hand, as in not my dominant hand that's holding the stick, my other hand, is as important for a number of reasons, but one of the most important reasons is that this can reach out and grab another stick. Like I said, this isn't a sword. I'm not at risk of cutting my hand if I grab hold of it. Neither is my opponent. So it's very important that when I'm doing stick fighting that I understand that I need to be moving my stick out of the way and making sure that my opponent can't grab it, but also to be alert enough and ready where I can reach out and grab my opponent's stick should the need arise. It's very easy to do this once you learn how to set these things up and learn how to apply them in a stick fight. Yet it is something many people struggle with when they first start using a stick. It is also important to note that with an Irish stick, there are certain characteristics that make this unique. First and foremost is the knob on the end of the stick. Having this knob obviously concentrates the force onto the end of the stick. However, one of the important details that people struggle with when I'm using, let's say, a regular hardwood stick like this, sometimes I use this just for practice. Generally, when you hit with a stick like this, most of the force is in this upper third. This is kind of ideally where you want to hit, somewhere kind of roughly around here. Not at the tip, because it's usually moving fast, but will kind of bounce back and doesn't really concentrate most of the power. This differs when we look at an Irish stick, where you have this knob on the end of the stick, and that is where most of the force is concentrated. The only style that I've ever found outside of Irish stick that mirrors this is hatchet fighting within the art of Bikini Tertia Kali. They do very similar motions where your stick comes out and travels back, for the very similar reason that you cannot swing an Irish stick through something just like you cannot swing a hatchet through something, because it will get caught. This little area here, even if I swing it on a straight stick, it can swing, it can get caught. This is an important characteristic to understand about these sticks. But ultimately, one of the other characteristics of these is that they do break. They are sticks. They are tools. For, I'd say, well in excess of 90% of us, these will never be used in anger. For most of us, these are walking sticks. These are tools. I don't like overly ornate weapons because, again, I believe they are tools. For me, most of my sticks I use for walking, or I hit a tire in my garden with them. I don't like ornamentation. I prefer utilitarian things. To me, having a highly ornate stick is kind of like putting gold on a shovel. It might look cool, but I really don't see the purpose of it. But again, that's my personal preference. But you need to understand a stick can and will break. It will need repairing, it'll need maintenance, and ultimately it has characteristics that are important to understand. It is a blunt force instrument. It's not cutting, it is not thrusting, it is not stabbing. It can do some of those things, it can thrust, but it cannot do things other weapons can. It has specific characteristics to it. And if you understand how to train a weapon via its characteristics, you will be in a much better place to understand how to use those things. So for example, you have flexible weapons, and we know various different types of those. We have stabbing, cutting, thrusting, and with a stick we have a blunt instrument. So one of the most important things when we discuss Irish stick fighting in particular is that we are training a stick fighting art, a purely stick fighting art. The rattan that you see in the sparring videos, that is a proxy for this, for a stick. It is not a proxy for a sword. So you do not see similar motions that you will see in other arts where the stick is a proxy for a sword. We are not using a stick for a proxy for a sword or a machete or other things that you will see in other arts. For us, it is purely a stick-based art that is based around the use of these sticks. As a result, the motions do differ. However, ultimately it is use of a stick, and this is the end product and end tool. This is a very important thing to consider when we discuss Irish stick fighting in particular. We need to make sure when we are training with our sticks that they are close to the sort of sticks we'll be using, that they're not overly light, because it's very easy to fall into the trap of using a very light stick that moves quickly and looks well when we use it, as opposed to a stick that is of a correct weight that will cause damage but might not move quite as gracefully. Grace is something that we seek out in martial arts to make things look like art, when sometimes we forget the martial side of it. But it is very important to understand what this is, and this is the number one lesson I teach to people. You need to be able to use these things as they are and for the purpose that they're intended, and you need to be able to swing them with speed and power. Not just speed and not just power. If we swing with speed, we'll get too focused on having overly light sticks that won't do the things that we need. If we focus on power, we'll have overly heavy sticks and we won't be able to recover and use them properly. We need to understand that when using a stick, we need to be able to wind up and swing with it from whatever the position is. Whatever style of Irish stick fighting you study, you'll understand this. If you don't study Irish stick fighting, if you study another style, you'll also understand this. We also need to understand that our body and certain parts of our body are very vulnerable when using a stick. Our hands especially. You'll see this in a number of different arts, and you see this in Irish stick fighting as well, where the hands are often targeted. And you'll see this a lot when you spar, that the hands are often hit over and over and over. It's a very important thing to understand how to move these and keep these moving when you train. So this is a very quick and short summary of some of the most important things that you need to know when you first start using a stick. Like I said, this is information that I share with people every single time when I teach them Irish stick for the first time, because I think these are very, very important things to understand, and it applies to all martial arts, not just Irish stick, but it is especially true of Irish stick because of what this is. Blackthorn is a very tough and very strong wood, but it is not magical. It can and will break, and ultimately it is still a stick. And we need to understand the characteristics of using a knob stick and why we use it in the way that we use it. Again, I've discussed that third grip in the past. Having a forward weighted stick, we cannot hold it at the end. If we overswing, it won't be recoverable. That also falls into the category of weight that I mentioned earlier. If we don't have a stick that is the correct weight for us. If it's too heavy, we'll overswing, we'll not be able to control it, and we're going to be in for a bad day. So anyway, that was a very quick summary of one of the most important lessons that I think anyone who does stick fighting of any type should learn. Now, if you guys are interested in learning from me and learning Irish stick fighting, you'll be able to find lots down in the description. I really do thank you all for watching. If there's any videos you'd like to see, please do let me know. I'm working on a number of projects at the moment, but I'm always open to suggestions from my viewers. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. It really makes a big difference, and I really want to try hit that 5,000 by the end of the year. Thank you all so very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and slán.